In today's episode, I'm going to be showing you guys how to forge a steel rose. Also, I want to quickly mention there is two different types of artists in this world. Happy tree artists and Austrian painter artists. There's a third one, a steel artist. When they have a good day, happy trees all the way. When they have a bad day, world domination. After I realized in some areas of the world domination is slightly illegal, I decided to make a steel rose making video and show you how to do it. So here's the tools you need. We're going to start off with a lightweight ball peen hammer, and if you don't have a ball peen hammer, a little bit heavier of a hammer might work, but ball peen's the best. We need some kind of tin snips or something to cut thin metal. A blowtorch would also be very helpful, but it is not needed. We also need a couple sets of pliers or tongs like I have here. Some channel locks or anything that can really grip the metal would work. I recommend having a file, a half round file at least, because that seems to fit into the cracks the best. And then the only two materials you're going to need is some kind of long metal rod and a piece of thin sheet metal. So basically, after you're done shaping your stem and getting the stem of the rose how you want it, you want to just hit it with a wire brush to get all the dirt and grease and stuff off of it. And it also gives it a really nice finish no matter what material you use, whether it's brass, copper, steel, bronze. It could be any of that, as long as it's some type of metal. All you want to make sure of, though, is the very tip where the flower petals are going to be. Make sure that is as round as possible, because of the once I go to drill the holes, you need to fit the flower petals down on in the hole. You'll see in just a second what I'm doing. All you want to do is take your sheet metal and basically cut it into squares. They don't have to be perfect, just a bunch of different sizes of squares, at least 2 big ones, a few medium-sized ones, and 2 or 3 kind of small ones. You can go all big ones, you can go all small ones, it just depends on how you want your rose. But roses in the wild are all different shapes, all different sizes, all different colors, and the flower petals don't look all the same, so there is really no right way to do this, as long as you make it look like a rose, not a medieval torture device. All jokes aside, they would be useful in Walmart. So after you got your different shapes and sizes of squares cut out, what you want to do is you want to take a marker or something and draw what I call kindergarten flowers. Basically what you would draw on pen and paper as you were a child. Just draw them out. They don't have to be perfect. Pretend you're in kindergarten and just draw out different shapes and play around with it a little bit. There's no need to worry about it, and try not to swallow your tools while you're pretending you're in kindergarten. And no one would feel sorry for you if you did. When it comes to the bigger flower petals, try to take up as much material as you can by drawing out as big of flowers as you can. You'll see why in a minute. But yeah, whenever you're done with that, you want to go ahead and Try to cut it out as close to the shape that you drew on the steel as possible, because it just makes life easier in the future. You don't want any sharp corners, any sharp edges, or anything like that. And I messed up with the video footage here. I was trying to get me cutting it in the frame, but as you can see, you can't really see me cutting anything at all. After you're all done cutting out the initial shape, you want to grab your file and just knock down any rough corners, any sharp edges, anything that doesn't look like a flower petal. You want to just kind of file it down, make everything all nice and smooth. Make sure you're not going to get cut if you touch it. Now you want to find a drill bit that is just as wide as your stem of the rose, and then you want to drill a hole through all of your flower petals in the dead center. Well, it don't have to be perfectly centered, but as long as it's in the middle of the flower petals, like what I'm doing here on the video. You don't have to use a drill bit. Because this metal is so thin, you can actually use a nail and just set them up on a log and just punch through the metal with a nail. It's just a little less accurate and a little less what you're looking for. But you do not need a drill press or a drill of any sort. All you need to do is make a hole there, basically. Now after you have the hole in all of your petals, you want to take your stem and basically put it into the hole of all of your flower petals, and make sure it's in there pretty tight. You don't want them rattling around too much, and if it's not tight enough, you can solder it together or you can rivet it down. You just got to do it correctly. For the next few steps, the blowtorch does come in handy, or if you have a propane or charcoal forge, that would work too. If you really you want to use heat and you don't have a blowtorch and you don't have any kind of forge, what you can do is you can stick it in basically over your propane stove and heat it up that way. As long as it's basically above 200 degrees, it makes the metal a little bit softer and easier to work with. You don't need the heat though. It is just a little bit stiffer and a little bit harder to deal with. And whenever you have the heat, it makes life a lot easier, especially riveting the end of the stem down. Because I kind of messed up on the very end of the stem a little bit during the forging process, I ended up having to solder all the flower petals into one spot after I riveted the end over, so that way they didn't rattle around. But what you can do is you can use a little bit of wire and wrap it up right there and kind of make it look like vines or something. But after you're all done riveting everything together, you want to start bending all the flower petals down, or upwards I should say, and just turning them into a cup, or shaping them like a rose would be shaped. Now, like I said before, there's no right or wrong way to do this, as long as you make it look like a rose. Look at any rose, any flower, any tree, anywhere. None of them is the same. None of them is perfect. They're all different. They're all different shapes, sizes. Go ahead and just shape it. Use your imagination. And once you think it's done, then it's done. After you have the petals folded in on themselves, what you want to do is you want to grab a set of pliers and just start putting little bends and twists and turns, and just giving the ends of the flower petals texture. Petals closer to the edge, like the bigger flowers that you cut out, you want to bend outwards and just give them little textures and grab them, twist them, turn them. Do what you can to give it texture and make it look realistic. It's not that hard, and if you heat it up, it makes it even easier. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this type of video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to be entered into a chance to win a random forged item such as a steel rose or a tomahawk, which, spoiler alert, is going to be the next giveaway because I am quickly approaching 300 subscribers. If you want to be entered into a chance to win, just hit the subscribe button and share it to all your friends. And what that will do is you'll be entered into a drawing tournament, and once I reach 300 subscribers, I will put names in a hat and draw a random name. I will do my best to contact you. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.